Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush episode review. This will be my review on episode 39 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, the finale of the third arc, and boy oh boy, what an episode it was. If you want to see myself and a few of my friends' live reaction, check out my channel. That video should be up at this point. But my goodness, I've watched this episode now about 3 times, I think. I've watched some scenes more than that because this was one of the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Episodes I have watched in a very long time. I really do mean that. From the dialogue, the overall implications, and just the doors to all the different theories and possibilities that this opens up for, I don't want to say the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Multiverse, but certainly the Yu-Gi-Oh! Multiverse within the scope of the Rush Duel anime, because I'm nowhere near saying any of those Studio Gallop shows are going to be involved in this. You know, I don't think we're going to see Arc 5 characters or Vrain's characters, but going forward with this show and with more shows that Studio Bridge may do in the future, they clearly are not opposed to doing this multiverse, dimensional, time travel, AU craziness. And that, if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan, should be super exciting. So generally speaking, obviously, I am super high on the episode. It kicks off with a little bit of a flashback, and we get some good needed backstory as to how Yugioh and Zwijo first met, which was also Yugioh really coming to this timeline for the very first time. Now, what's interesting about this is this Yugioh right after the hyperspace at the end of episode 92? Or is this after him and Kaizo were trying to get back to Earth and their present timeline after they traveled in the hyperspace, right? Because Kaizo makes a mention that they were trying to get back to their own time period. They thought they were getting back to their own time period by traveling to Earth. So I wonder if they somehow performed another time skip to get here, or if this was immediately after that hyperspace. You know, the door is still open there, and that's the thing that this episode did so well. While it answered a lot of questions and it gave us a lot of really good things to think about, a lot of fun things to think about, it also left the doors wide open for a myriad of possibilities. And so Yugioh sees Zwijo immediately after what looks like crash landing on Earth, and Zwijo accuses him of having the Rush Duels, creating the Rush Duels, and that this is the planet that has Rush Duels, and eventually he forces Yugioh to create Rush Duels. But Zwijo's role in this show, and maybe in this universe, you have to say, has gotten so much more fascinating, because how on earth does Zwijo know that Rush Duels exist when in this time period, which Yugioh even confirmed later in the episode, Rush Duels do not exist? Yugioh literally created them in this time period, and we are, I guess, under the impression that this is in the past of the Sevens series of events, so maybe like 100, 200 years in the past of Sevens before Rush Duels were ever supposed to come. But Zwijo clearly knows that Rush Duels should have existed, even though Solid Vision isn't even a thing that's been created during the Go Rush era until, of course, Yugioh brought that to this universe, assumingly. So few possibilities here. One, Zwijo is some sort of time traveler, and he was able to travel into the future to see the possibilities that Rush Duels can bring to a planet, to a war, to a galaxy, and he traveled to Earth thinking that maybe Rush Duels existed on this planet in his own timeline, in his own time period, but it just never went outside of Earth. That's the first possibility. The second possibility is Otis is involved in this. If Yugioh went back to this time period, you have to imagine that Otis probably did as well. They both traveled in that hyperspace. They performed that hyperspace together. So did Otis seek out Zwijo, maybe intentionally, maybe not, and tell him about Rush Duels, and that Rush Duels could lead his planet to victory and save Velgears? I think that's a possibility, and that's how Zwijo knew about the existence of Rush Duels on Earth before Rush Duels, again, were a thing. No one in the world should have known about Rush Duels. So it's either Otis told him, he himself learned how to time travel, or there's a third deity character that we do not know anything about at this time that is going to be revealed to us to be someone from the future as well. There's a few different possibilities here, but my lord, they are all fascinating. They are all interesting, and that was a twist that I did not see coming. And of course, Zwijo disappears in the middle of this duel. While all the positive energy is being sucked out of the world, is vanishing, Zwijo himself vanishes. What does that tell me? Well, I know there's going to be a bunch of different theories. There's already people, you know, in the reaction when we were talking about it that completely disagree with me. But to me, that tells me that Zwijo is a beacon of positivity and is some sort of overwhelmingly positive force in the universe. And so when the Lug is having another meltdown, Zwijo obtains the Lug's power. Notice how he takes a page of the Lug's manga, so that's a little concerning, but also vanishes because of the Lug's power. So is Zwijo some sort of savior from the future that is trying to save this timeline or save a massive part of this galaxy or save Velgears? That's what now I'm inclined to believe. I am now all of a sudden believing that Zwijo is some sort of positive energy. Maybe the positive singularity point to rival the Lug's negative singularity point. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I thought that was incredibly fascinating, that of all the things that disappeared, Zwijo permanently disappeared. He did not come back, so we have no idea where Zwijo went. Now, maybe he was, you know, maybe he had an item in his pocket that was very positive that allowed him to disappear. He was definitely anticipating it because he said, "It looks like I've reached my limits. We'll meet again soon, Yugioh." Smiles, grabs a page of the manga, and then disappears. So with that page of the manga, you imagine he has the ability to freeze people. Obviously, that's not necessarily heroic or positive intentions, so that kind of counters the argument that Zwijo is this positive force. But I don't know. Zwijo is also, at this point, pretty responsible for bringing rush duels to this point in time. I know Yuga's the one that actually created them, but Zwijo's the one who sought out Yugioh, who sought out going to Earth, and forced Yugioh to make rush duels. So that's also important to remember. So Zwijo's role has just gotten insanely interesting, in my opinion, in this story, as if it wasn't before. Of course it was before. But where Zwijo goes from here is super fascinating. So any theories you have on him and the role that he plays, please let me know down below. The duel itself was, I thought, fantastic. We see the Lug become the first rush duelist to get 2 fusion monsters at the same time on his field. I do not believe we ever saw that in Sevens. He gets 2 Dragia Star fusion monsters on his board at the same time that can each attack twice. Yugioh and Yugioh are able to fight off the Lug's attacks by switching their monsters into defense position. And then, of course, Yugioh takes his turn. And man, Yugioh had one of the best turns of the entire show of Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. Not only were the words that he was saying super profound, but the moves that he was making as well were also super good. He gets the fusion monster of Transamu Reinek and Seven's Road Magician onto the field, which is awesome. Transamu Road Reinek and the Lug immediately. Great voice acting, by the way, when the Lug activates the cancel. Like, you can genuinely hear, like, the pain in his voice. So shout out to his voice actor. I thought that specific line was incredibly well done. And Yugioh starting to lose a little bit of hope, but of course it's Yugioh, so he plays a card where if he draws a monster spell and trap out of 3 cards that he draws, he's able to add a monster spell and trap from his grave. Of course, he's able to pull that off, so he gets fusion, he gets Seven's Road Magician back into his hand, and with that, he's able, along the help of Yugioh with the summoning chant, he's able to summon Transamu Road Reinek again, and this time he's able to get over the Lug. But before he does it, he delivers some great lines about how, even if it's sometimes painful for us, and sometimes the journey can be really tough, if it leads to even one person smiling, it's worth it. And something this episode did incredibly well that I think I was a little worried about. Yugioh is here. Seven's Yugioh is here. is he going to overshadow the scene and overshadow the characters of Go Rush, specifically Yugioh in this duel, because he's teaming up with Yugioh? I never felt at any point in this duel, maybe besides like his entrance, which of course it's his freaking entrance, like that's fine, he overshadowed Yugioh. Never felt that way at any point. Yugioh was the one who got through to the Lug. Mostly. I mean, Yugioh did have some lines where he admitted that his heart hurts as well, and his heart hurts when he's sad. We see a great flashback scene, or I guess a flash forward scene, of Roman, Gakuto, and Luke shadowed out, which was really cool when Yugioh was talking about his own, you know, ambitions and journey and whatnot. But Yugioh did a lot of speaking on Yugioh's behalf. He did a lot of direct speaking to the Lug, and at the end of the day, it was his words that got through to the Lug and said, hey, your manga brought a lot of people smiles, and that's all that matters. Yes, people are, you know, shitting on it right now, and people aren't going to like it, and that's a great lesson in life. You do something as a content creator or as an author or as an actor, there will be people that do not like you. There will be people that do not think you're a good singer, that do not think you're a good writer, that do not think you're a good actor. But think of all the people you have to, and as a YouTuber, as a Yugituber, I've had to do this many times throughout my life. Think about all the people that genuinely do enjoy your work, and those are the people that you do this for. Those are the people that makes the harsh, maybe sometimes unfair criticism and hate worth it. And that's exactly what Yugioh said to the Lug, and he got through to the Lug via that. And I thought that was super powerful and super accurate. And so Yugioh ends up shining way, way, way more than I thought he would, especially with Yugioh, you know, the story of Yugioh returning here by his side in this duel and in these last two episodes. And man, this duel really made me, it propelled Yugioh to being my favorite character, because yes, Yugioh can be goofy, he can be a little clueless because he is an alien here on Earth, but when he gets serious and when he talks about his ideals and what he believes in, I think he's one of the most compelling characters in this show, easily. And so Yugioh really won a lot of my respect here and ended up winning the duel and got through to the Lug. We learn shortly after that the curry bread is what's able to save people from being frozen. Now, is the curry bread imbued with Earth Damar? That's a pretty popular theory. Could be the case. We see the Earth Damar here to end off arc number 3, pretty much telling the viewer, like, hey, I know we haven't focused on the Earth Damar all that much since the first arc, but it's going to play a big role here coming up. We promise you that. That's at least the vibe that I got. Usually when they end with a character, although with Ron that wasn't really the case, or a scene to finish off an arc, that's usually a sign that they will be important in the next arc. So we all want to know more about Earth Damar. Yugioh splits as soon as the duel ends. He doesn't even say a word. He literally just leaves. Classic Yugioh fashion. So yeah, we're going to have to wait a little bit more to learn more about him and, you know, maybe the ramifications of bringing Rush Duel into a time period that should never have experienced Rush Duels. And I would love to know what happened in this original time period if Rush Duels never came. Does Yugioh perish? Does Zwijo perish? Do the Valkyrians all die out here? I think it's something that's, you know, an honest question. And man, oh man, this episode was just crazy. It was littered with so many things. And it's one of those things where if you didn't watch Sevens, you might not get the full effect. But if you did watch Sevens, I feel like you probably just absolutely loved this episode. Great episode, really strong arc, and I'm very, very excited to see where we go from here. And there will be a lot of theories. There will be a lot of timeline discussions as well when it comes to Rush Yugioh on this channel in the near future. So guys, let me know all your thoughts on what ended up being an insane episode 39 of Yugioh Go Rush. I'm excited to hear from all of you down below in the comments. A special thank you to my Platinum tier patron, Panther J, to my Diamond tier patrons, Latrell Smith and Jesse Woods, and to my Egyptian God tier patron, Pink Penguin. Thank you to everyone who supports me on Patreon and whoever is a YouTube channel member. You guys help me out so much. And if you want some exclusive channel perks, definitely check out both of those sites and features. Be sure to check out my channel for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime content. And until next time, I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.